Okay, returning back to the series, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. In terms of having the functions, we got it going, we got it to work, but now we want to be able to get the information from the user. What I mean by, yeah, the user. And so there's a function, okay, that's called input, right? That we can actually prompt the user with some information. So let's say we want them to get, what we want is to get state first number, okay? And whatever information, we're going to just store this as num1, okay? And so that should be fine. Let's go ahead and play this. Let's go ahead and play this. Sorry about that. It says state first number. I spelled that wrong. Okay, boom. Should be number. And as soon as I press a number, it's going to end the actual software or the program. So press 3, it ends it. Okay, good. Let's do that for the second number. So number 2, that's fine. Okay. Second number, and that works. This should work. Let's go ahead and press play. I'm gonna delete this so it doesn't keep printing. Let's say 5 and then 6 and then we're done. So with that being said, I'm actually going to not say breeze over this, but I'm gonna say that I want the user's information to be a certain type of number. I want it to be a certain type of number. I want it to be able to handle decimals. And what we do in Python to be able to handle decimals is not necessarily to utilize, so what I mean by handle decimals, because this is technically a decimal as an answer, but what I want to be able to do is give it a decimal, and have it be able to work with it. Because at this current moment, it wouldn't necessarily work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define this as a float. I'm going to define something, a function around my input as a float, just so that just so I can handle the decimals. And what floats allows us to do, a float allows us to handle numbers that could be a decimal. Okay, that's that. The next huge thing for me to do is to be able to get what type of operation am I going to be doing, whether it's adding, subtraction, multiplying, or division. And so what I can do is say type or operation, okay? And so what we're going to do here, all we do is, it's going to be input. We don't have to do a float because we're not dealing with numbers here. Input, I'm going to say operator. I'm going to say select operator. It's a little different from what the actual code was earlier, but you get the gist. Select operator, and what we're going to do is add. And we could have done the symbols. I really wanted to do the symbols. Multiply, and then what's the last one? Divide. Okay. Okay, so if I run this now, this should still work. Okay, let's take the first number, 1, 2, and I can say add. I'm actually going to put a space here, and then colon space here for next time, and then it will work. At this current moment, we haven't told the computer to do any one of these implement one of these functions based off of what is provided. Okay, so we need to be able to do that. We need to tell the computer to do one of these functions. It depends. Okay, watch this. It depends on what the user supplies. It depends on what the user says. If they want to add, we want to use this function. If the user says subtract, we want them to use this function. Okay, so how do we do that? There's something called an if statement. Okay. And so what we'll do is say if, operation, okay, is equal to, we want to check if it's equal to. And so the way we do the way we check if something is equal to is operator that allows us to do this check. So we do equal to add. If operation is equal to add, what we want to do is to add num1 and num2. Okay? And let's just see what happens when we do this. We do 3, we do 4, let's do 9, and we do add. Of course, it doesn't do anything. Why didn't it do anything? Because we didn't save it. We didn't print it, sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say result is equal to this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to print the result so I can see the answer. Let's select the numbers. Let's do 4. Let's do 5. And let's do add. 4 plus 5 is 9. Good. That's good. And so the thing is, if I would, as you can see, it's not continually asking the question. That's important to note that we're not there yet, but we're at the place where we're able to at least get an answer. Let's run it again. Okay, let's run it again, and let's do 4 and 9. But this time, what we're going to do is subtract. And what do you think is going to happen? I would argue an error. Oh. Oh, it's printing this result. So that's good. I'm happy that this is there. It's printing this result from here. So at least it's a learning moment for all of us. I want to make a point, so I'm going to comment this out and have the computer read it continuously. Okay. And then now run it. Do 4, do 5, and then do subtract. And now I should get an error. Okay, good. It says result is undefined. It is not defined because this if statement we didn't add a condition for when it's a when it's a subtract. So we need to add that additional condition. So the way we do that is to do something called an else if. Okay, else if operation is equal to subtract. Now the result is equal to subtract num1, num2. We do the next one, else if operation is equal to multiply colon results is equal to what we're going to do. We're going to multiply these numbers. Multiply num1 and num2. And then else. So since this is the final case that we're looking at, or the final case that's possible, we just end it with an else. We end it with just an else. So we do else. Actually, we could just end it with the else. I'm going to intentionally say else if as well. Just see. Else if operation is equal to divide. Because I want to cover all cases. I want to cover all cases. Results is equal to divide num1 and num2. Okay? So let's go ahead and run this. We're going to do 40 plus, let's do 40, then 0, and let's add it or subtract it. So hopefully it should give us back 40. Okay, that works good. Let's do something else. Let's do something else. I actually know this is going to cause an issue. Because there's going to be, that's fine. It's going to cause an issue. Let's do 40 and 0 again. But this time, let's say divide. And as you all know that you can't have a 0 in a denominator. Of course, it runs into a 0. It runs into an error. Okay. So what we can do is create an if statement within this actual function and say if num2 is equal to 0, print cannot have 0 in the denominator. I'm a programmer, not a speller. So let's go ahead and run this. Try it again. Let's do another number, 10. Let's do 0. Let's do divide. Give me a second. Let me try. This is good. So this is still an error. Let's see something. All right. So I was almost there. So what I needed to do, instead of printing it, I'm just going to return this statement that cannot have 0 in the denominator, and that should work. That should work. Let's see. Let's do 5. Let's do 0. Let's do divide. Then it returns can I have 0 in the denominator. Okay, so we're getting there. And in the next video, we will talk about creating a system or the capacity to continually ask the question until the user says no. But at this current moment, we have a calculator. We legitimately have a calculator when we run this program. Good work.